You're doing everything right, crushing projects, leading teams, yet somehow offers keep slipping away. Here's the twist: it's not your answers that are holding you back, it's that you've been answering the wrong questions entirely. After coaching over 1,000 product managers, I can tell you the ones that land 300,000 plus roles, they flip the interview game completely. So let's talk about that. Let me show you how to do the same. Stop answering what they asked and start answering what they need. Most product managers think that tell me about yourself means walk me through your resume. Trust me, I've had someone talk about themselves for 20 minutes. I was ready to stick a fork in my eye just to stay awake. It doesn't work. Hiring managers are really asking, can you solve the problems we are facing right now? That means every question from walk me through your background to tell me about a time you disagreed with an engineer is an opportunity to tell a problem solution story that connects to them. For example, instead of saying, I worked on payments at company X, say, let me tell you about how I rebuilt a broken checkout flow and lifted conversion by 18%, something I think that's directly relevant to the scaling challenges you're facing. That makes them pay attention. One of our clients, Kiori, was already great on paper, but her interviews weren't landing. I mean, she lost out on a role which was a perfect fit. Now, once she rebuilt her opening pitch and led with results, she stacked finals in 1 week and she chose between multiple offers with 100,000 compensation lift. Let's get real. Most product managers struggle in interviews not because they don't have the experience, but because they don't know how to talk about it. They ramble, they list tasks, they drown in detail, and the hiring manager, well, they're checking Slack, email, they're checked out. Here's how we fix that instantly. We use a simple but deadly effective tool called the 3-layer answer framework. And look, once you learn it, you'll never answer in another interview the same question again. Okay, so layer 1 is context. What was the situation and why did it matter? You set the scene, but you keep it tight. So this is like 1 to 2 lines max. The goal isn't background noise, it's stakes. You're establishing the stakes of the situation. For example, we were losing retention in an onboarding flow, and leadership was under pressure to reverse it before the next board meeting. Now you've got their attention. Layer 2 is action. What did you do specifically that moved the needle? No V statements. Okay, that's a golden rule. No vague responsibilities. This is where you signal ownership. I ran user interviews, uncovered a 3-step friction point, and worked with design to prototype a new onboarding sequence that we launched in 2 sprints. Clear, concise, real leadership. Now, you might go deeper into it, and we teach our clients how to go deeper into it for a longer answer, but this action layer needs to be there. And then layer 3 is impact. What changed because of your work? Numbers are great, but the key is business relevance. Our changes improved activation by 21%, and it gave us a repeatable framework that growth used in 3 other flows. You're showing that not only are you impacting your own product area, but you're having influence outside it. And that's a big, big deal when it comes to those 300,000 plus product roles. Now you're not just someone who did something, you're someone who delivered results. You built a new practice that lasted. And that's really what matters. This framework works for behavioral questions. Tell me about a time you failed, as an example. Strategic questions. How do you prioritize? Technical questions like how do you work with engineering? Leadership questions. How do you influence without authority? It works because it's how product managers are conditioned to think. What's the problem? What's the feature solution set built? Like, what did you do? And what are the metrics or impact? Here's proof. One of our clients, Justin, used to bomb interviews. Not because he didn't have the skill, because his answers were just all over the place, hard to follow. After we trained him on the 3-layer structure, he rebuilt 5 core stories around this exact framework. He went from getting ghosted to landing 3 final rounds from just 5 applications. Think about it. 3 final rounds from 5 applications. Everything followed this framework. Same background, same experience, just totally different signal. And here's the big takeaway. Your answers don't need to be longer. They need to be sharper. You don't need more details. You need the right level of detail at each layer. You're not trying to tell your whole story. You're trying to show them you can solve their problem and do it again, and you have a framework for it. And that's what gets offers. So you just learned the framework that separates good product managers from great ones. But there's something even more powerful in knowing which stories to tell and when. If you want the complete system that's helped over 1,000 product managers land their dream roles, click the link below to book a free strategy session. Now, here's a game changer that most product managers never come across. They never get. Great interviews aren't a test. They're product discovery sessions. Let me say that again because it's a complete mindset shift. An interview isn't a test, an exam that you pass or fail. It's a conversation to figure out whether you can solve the company's most urgent, expensive problems, and frankly speaking, whether you want to work there. So think about it like this. You're not here to be quizzed. You're here to collaborate, to explore together how your product thinking, your decision making, your leadership, your influence can move their company, their business goals forward. And when you shift into that mode, that's when everything clicks. Because when you're in a test mode, what happens? Well, you overthink every word. You second guess your tone. You memorize answers instead of telling stories. You miss the moment. But when you're in discovery mode, you listen. You ask great questions. You pick up subtle signals and you respond like the product leader you are and you're meant to be. Here's how to tell which mode you're in. Let's say you asked a metrics question. Test mode thinking sounds like this. Okay, what's the right answer? What do they want to hear? Did I miss a framework? Am I going to miss something? What's happening? But discovery mode thinking sounds like, well, what matters most to them? Are they struggling with retention, activation? Is this a growth PM role or a platform PM role? What should I focus on? And then you respond with curiosity, confidence, and signal. And here's something most candidates never notice. Your interviewer is constantly giving you feedback. Not formally, but behaviorally. Are they leaning forward? Are they asking follow-ups? Are they starting to talk about how you'd fit into the team? Are they discussing problems they're actively facing? And not just interest, that's buying behavior. It means your answer landed. And it's time to maybe go deeper. Maybe add context, maybe bring in another proof point, show how your experience connects with their goals. What if you're not seeing that engagement? What if they're pulling back or, looking distracted and looking somewhere else and moving on quickly and be like, whatever. That's your cue to pivot. You don't double down on a bad story. You adjust. You might even observe and say, actually, are you mostly focused on launching net new products or scaling what's already working? Now you're driving the conversation again. You're sensing that there's a gap and you're closing it in. And now you're doing what great PMs do. Reading signal, iterating in real time and steering the room towards clarity, towards a shared purpose. This is what separates candidates who interview okay from candidates who get hired. And here's the big takeaway. The best product managers don't try to over impress. They try to solve. They're not trying to prove they know everything. They're showing they know how to think and how to figure things out. And that right there, my friend, that's leadership signal. Finally, let's talk confidence because this is what makes it all work. Confidence isn't being perfect. It's not having every answer. It's not memorizing every possible framework. Confidence is this. I've done this before and I can do it again for you. And even if I haven't done exactly it, I can figure it out. It's knowing your stories. It's knowing your impact. It's knowing your value. Even if you don't say it perfectly every time. Like I don't. Because when you walk into the room like someone who's already solving problem, people believe it. And that belief, that's what gets you the offer. Now let's talk about one of the trickiest questions in any interview. What's your biggest weakness? Now, most people either freeze or fake it. They say stuff like Michael Scott from The Office. I work too hard. I care too much. I just expect excellence from myself. You've heard these. You've maybe said these. But here's the truth. Fake weakness doesn't land. It doesn't build trust. It doesn't differentiate you. And they sure don't make you look like a leader. Because behind that question, what's your weakness, is a much more important one. How do you grow and adapt? That's what they're trying to figure out. And when you understand that, your entire answer changes. Now, here's how top performers handle this. They get real, but they stay strategic. They don't just admit flaws, they show self-awareness and forward momentum. So here's a structure. Name the real growth area, clearly and confidently, explain how it showed up in the past, and share exactly what you have done or try to do to improve or to some way make up for your deficiencies. Highlight the result or lesson that came from it. Let me give you a couple of examples. So, like one area I've had to work on is delegating early during high stakes launches. I used to overown everything, not because I didn't trust my team, but because I didn't slow down to set up clear ownership upfront. Once I realized that was causing delays, I started using a decision making matrix in kickoff meetings. Now I flag risk early and align on who owns what in week one. And it's made my launches faster and my team more autonomous. Now that is a strong answer. It's honest, it's reflective, and it shows leadership growth in motion. Another one that I use all the time is look, I am not a highly detail oriented person. I know that. I love big picture thinking. When it comes to knowing someplace where details would be really critical, I either bring one of my team members in to complement me using their natural strength, be like, hey, high level it looks great. Please dig through it and let me know what works. Or I force myself to, within short bursts of time, go really take detailed looks. It drains me, so then I step away from it and I keep coming back. I know it's an instinct that I need to fight, not being the most detail oriented person, but it matters in some cases and I make up for it. Those answers work. But you know what answer doesn't work? I'm a perfectionist. Not only is it vague, it's not actionable. Perfectionism isn't a growth story. It's a deflection. You're just saying, hey, I delay action, but that's because I'm a perfectionist. It's an excuse. If you want to stand out, show that you've already done the hard work of self reflection and you do it all the time. Because here's the truth, in today's world, vulnerability is a leadership skill. Every high performing product manager I've coached, the ones from Meta or Stripe or PayPal, Atlassian, Google, they've all had a version of it. They weren't perfect, but they were honest. They owned their edge, how they were sharpening it. And hiring managers loved it because nobody really wants to hire a robot. I mean, you could hire an AI agent, but they want to hire a real human who can look at themselves, grow fast, and improve every quarter, just like the product they're building. So next time they ask, what's your weakness? Don't flinch. Don't fake it. Flip it. Show them how you think, how you grow, and why you're the kind of product manager they can bet on long term. If you're ready to land that next level product management role, book a strategy session with my team. We'll map out your exact path to the dream role and see if our programs are right for you. Even if you're not a fit, you leave with clarity you can use. The link is in the description. And now that you know how to answer any question, you need to know what's actually stopping most product managers from getting that dream role or getting promoted. Click this video where I reveal why you keep getting passed over for that director of product management role and the exact steps to break through.